G'day everyone, it's Dalo and Hoody back, and today we are doing the vote count for the Faction Player of the Year for 2022. So we're very excited to do this. Been an exciting year in Magic and everything the faction do. I think we had two majors. We had PTQs or RCQs as they're called now. We had them back. And just it was a good year after the years we've had to be back. Hoodie, what was a couple of things that happened with the faction this year that were memorable to you?
It's been a tremendous bounce back from obviously a couple of tough years with COVID. We obviously had a pretty good time in the team as far as COVID went with having activities on Discord and whatnot. So we never really stopped doing stuff, but it kept us in good stead for jumping out of that and then being able to just hit the ground running with real life stuff. So we had an incredible year as far as the two faction majors. We're so blessed to be able to run the two majors. We're able to do a few of them during COVID as well somehow.
We snuck in a couple in there.
We did, yeah. But so I think the first one we did during the year was the champs, I believe.
Yep.
That was early in the year.
Yes, it was.
Whereabouts did we have champs?
Diamond Creek.
Yeah, that's right. We had a great house. Oh, you can almost call it a farm. It was that good.
Yeah, it was huge.
And we obviously had the Invitation, which is just a massive event at Phillip Island again. Incredible venue. We had the pool. We had the go-karting. We had the golf.
We had everything.
Shout out to the Jerrys for beating the faction boys in the golf. That was a great tournament. But yeah, we've had it all. We've bounced back. We've obviously seen this new, I won't call it the PPTQ system because it's got a new name, but being able to actually play those, and that kind of happened more towards the end of the year, but being able to play those weekly Magic events. We had Flesh and Blood. But beyond that, just as far as the team went, we had a couple of great new additions to the team. Massive shout out to Tristan and Kynan, who are just incredible guys that we've got into the team. 24 amazing people. It's a huge community.
It's a big number now, but yeah.
And we had lots of things to celebrate. We had various career achievements. We had a wedding. We had some engagements. I'm not sure if we had a baby, but if we didn't have it last year, it was soon before that. So massive shout out to the new parents of the team, like John out there. But yeah,
we had a store opening.
We did. How can I forget the store opening? Plenty of games. Shout out to them. Geez, what can we say?
It's a great place to play Magic and whatever card game you're into. So yeah, get down there when you can. Plenty of games in the city. What street's it on?
It's on Collins Street, and it's smack bang in the centre.
Yeah.
Run by some of the absolute bastions of the community. In obviously two of our boys in Trent and Gibbo, but also Scotty and Isaac as well. Just an incredible venue. You really only have to go to that store if there's any one store you can go to, because it's just, the community is amazing. It's massive and it's smack bang in a great location. We also had a tremendous podcast as well. Huge shout out to the hosts of that. Doing a great job. I haven't had an episode for a little while, but I'm sure there'll be one coming out pretty soon. And
there's definitely we've got an invitational coming up in the next few months.
We do.
So there'll definitely be podcasts involved in that, and probably ones to do with the Super Series final.
Definitely.
Super Series final, I think it's called. But we have a couple of the faction boys qualified for already. So So there's things coming that I'm sure the boys will want to talk about, and there will be podcasts coming, I'm sure.
And exactly right. And a massive shout out too to the faction basketball team.
Yes.
We're not just a Magic team. We're basically a lifestyle brand. We've got sports, we've got cards, we've got community
holidays.
events. So we have it all. It's when you're part of this community, it's not just a bunch of people playing cards. It's literally a life-changing thing. So
yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
So yeah, 2022. Let's talk. On that note, we'll actually talk about some Magic and how it went. So let's see. I just need to skip forward. Okay. So what is the Player of the Year? Player of the Year is basically an award that we've been given out for a few years now. Pretty much since the team became a serious high-level tournament playing team. And we give out basically points to our team members and tally them up, and that's how we get a winner. And we use events such as our faction majors, which are quite important to us, and so we include them in, as well as the actual road to the Pro Tour, like the RCQ, Super Series Final, Sunday Series, all that sort of stuff, all the sort of major Magic events that happen out there. Next year we're going to, well, this year now I should say, we're going to include Flesh and Blood as well. Well, quite a few of the guys are getting very heavily into Flesh and Blood and pushing some very good results in their equivalent of GPs. I believe they're called the Calling and Nats and all that sort of stuff. So the Magic guys are going to have it harder next year with the Flesh and Blood guys, well, this year with the Flesh and Blood guys to compete against as well. So yeah, and the votes are given depending on how well you did at a particular event and how big an event that was. So you get more points for doing well at a Super Series final and potentially qualifying for the Pro Tour than you would at a smaller tournament. All right, so I think we'll get cracking.
Yeah, before we do that, just a quick shout out, because I'm not sure if we'll get a good time to be able to do it, but huge shout out to Gibbo for coming runner-up in, I believe it's the Calling maybe. Correct me if I'm wrong out there. But basically, Gibbo is qualified for their equivalent
of the Pro Tour.
Yeah. So it's a huge thing. Gibbo obviously came so close to the Magic variant over the years. He's a freak card player. And I'm sure we'll touch upon his cards in Flesh and Blood this year for the next Player of the Year.
I mean, if there was a Flesh and Blood Player of the Year for last year, it would have been Gibbo. He had a huge year and he had a lot of good performances. Not just that runner-up, but he did well in a multitude of events. So exactly, he was obviously crushing that game. And yeah, we can't wait to see him hopefully on camera overseas playing in the big leagues.
Definitely. And well done also to Jono out there for really organising the Flesh and Blood side of things for the team. He's a great leader in that regard.
Yeah, we appreciate all that he does. Okay, so I'll quickly mention the previous winners of the Player of the Year. Last year, obviously not awarded because of COVID and the lack of actual events. The year before that, Dogan made it to the Pro Tour, his first ever Pro Tour. And doing so well, I believe he racked up a lot of Player of the Year points with that. And congrats to Dogan. The year before that, Kyle won a GP. So that was a pretty easy way to win Player of the Year. I mean, no one in the team has ever got close to it, really.
Well, he had a huge year. He went over to America.
We went to the Pro Tour as well. He
did well in that. He day two'd in that. Actually came really high up in the Los Angeles GP as well on that trip, I believe. So a real record-breaking year as far as points go.
Yes. That's going to be a hard one to top. And then previous to that, we had Nathan and Alex, who had very big years in 2018 and 17 when we, in the old PTQ system, they were dominating.
It's you can't really, I mean, we can have a bit of a laugh about in terms of this being an award just for our team, but when you go down that list of winners, you got a couple of people that made the Pro Tour and played well. Even Nathan and Alex, they both finished very highly in GPs in their respective years. So we're talking about an award given to people that have done really well, just generally in the community.
And we had a huge amount of guys playing a lot of events in those years because there were a lot of great events to play in the old PPTQ system. So they weren't easy Player of the Years to win. There was a lot of people competing for that.
That's right.
So congratulations to all our previous winners. But today we're here to crown a new winner, maybe. Okay, so we're going to start off with the first half of the year. There were no RCQs or whatever your PPTQs, whatever we want to call them. So there was our events that we run ourselves. So we started the year, as we spoke about before, in Diamond Creek at our faction champs. Now you need to top 8 this event to get some points. Congratulations to Alex, who took out his first faction champs. He's come second before, but this time he broke the barrier and got his first win. Gaz had an amazing tournament, came second, and then Dogan, Chis, Rob Kine, and Leo Gibbo all made the top 8 in a very tough field. So congrats to those guys, especially to Alex. And then we had the Invitational down at Phillip Island,
which you took out, and about to quickly say with Alex that Alex I think was if that was the 6th or 7th major, it was the 6th or 7th winner of majors. We basically had a spread of different winners. Dalo, you were actually the first 2-time major winner for the faction majors, so an incredible achievement for you. Obviously, an incredible achievement beating Trent in the final, who's just an absolute juggernaut in this community when it comes to Magic. But yeah, terrific. And massive turnouts to both the champs and the Invi. Invi had 25 or 26 players. we're talking
Yes.
we're talking a high caliber of player as well. So, and Champs had around about 21, 22. So, pretty big events. Very hard to win. Huge amount of rounds during the tournament.
Yeah, I was buggered.
Yeah.
I was buggered. And I was trying to run the event as well, so that I slept well that first night. Yeah, no, it was a great event. I was very honoured, very lucky. I think I ran pretty well in that top 8 to get there. There's a few dicey matches and a few top decks that went my way, but you need that in a Magic tournament. So and Trent played amazingly as well. Alex again, he was top 8'd there. 3rd and 4th obviously went to guys that were invites that weren't in the team, so there's no points for the 3rd and 4th place there. But yeah, great job, and a couple of other little events that we had as well. There was Good Games Greensboro. We're running a weekly sort of qualifier for a big event, which was $1,000 draft. So if you won this draft tournament, you won $1,000. We've got Pete down as first. He was equal first. He split the prize money with a couple of other guys that did well in that event. So amazing run by Pete.
Definitely, and look, we had quite a few faction players playing in it.
I was in it. I lost to Braden, knocked me out of it. So I think Braden came 9th. He just missed out on top 8 there and securing himself a point.
Yeah. Also a bit of a quick shout out to the boys at Good Games Greensboro, Michael and Luke in particular, being great supporters of the team as well. So around the corner from us. So they've always done us a good deal and got us product for a lot of tournaments that we've run. So big shout out to those guys. And Moxing Day, who runs Moxing Day? Which store runs that? Is it Tabernacle? It might be Tabernacle. I think it's the and I'm probably gonna be wrong, but I think it's the Fitzroy store maybe.
Is that Temple Arden?
Oh yeah, okay.
One of those. I'm pretty sure it's
one
those
of those
guys.
two. Yeah,
and it's a huge Highlander event.
Yeah,
I believe first prize is a Mox. Is that what they call it, Moxing Day?
Yeah, well, I'm not sure if they had. They might have a Mox this year, but certainly one of, dare I say, one of the Highlander majors, I guess you could call it during the year. But Boxing Day is definitely one of their big days. I think they usually get 50 plus players. Yep. So yeah, it's a big event.
Yep, and well done to Ian for top 8ing that. He had a great Highlander year.
Yeah, he definitely led the chart. Him and Swanee and Kyle and Nate to a lesser extent really kind of. Really did well in the Highlander events. Yeah,
Dan back also did very well.
It's good to branch out. Obviously, we've talked about Flesh and Blood and some of our events, but also getting a few of the boys getting and playing a lot more of the Highlander events too. Just great to be able to have people just playing different types of Magic and different types of card games. Yeah.
Dan top 8'd the Invi because of his stellar
and that was
Highlander rounds.
That was incredibly exciting.
So he was good to have a first time top 8'er in Dan, and he was pretty rapt with that effort.
He was, and
congrats on that, mate. So shout out to Dan. All right, so we'll have so that's going from January to July before the big events or the Wizards WotC event started. So let's have a look at the leaderboard. So Alex, having won the championship and also top 8ing the Invitational, is on top with 20 points. Myself, with my victory, I'm on 16, and then Chis had 2 good. I think we were top 8'd both. Trent top 8'd both.
Yeah.
So those guys have got some good scores there.
And massive props as well to Alex and even to yourself, Shane, for. I mean, you've both got kids. Alex has got a really young one, so to be able to actually do so well in these tough tournaments. With the busy lifestyles you guys would be living, huge shout out, huge props to that.
Lots of dads in the faction these days, so there's a lot of us in that situation now. So it's a what did you call it? Would you call it a hindrance? I wouldn't call it a hindrance, but it's one of those things that makes you got to spread your time out more evenly. Exactly. There's not as much time for practice as there used to be.
Definitely, exactly right.
So, yep, I will move on to some WotC events. So here we go. The first PPTQ or RCQ, I've still called it a PPTQ in our spreadsheet where I record all these, was in Box Hill, and we had a huge turnout. Everyone was very excited to have Magic back. Unfortunately, it was 50 odd people. It was quite hard to top 8 that one. But yeah, lots of players there. Nath actually did, and he did very well and finished third, so he's picked up a few points there. And we move on. Trent obviously played Bendigo. Is Bendigo his hometown? Is it up that way? It's near there, isn't it?
I believe it is. So, he previously from Bendigo, yeah.
So he's got out to that one. Good Games Greensborough, where Ian came third. And that was a precursor to his win a couple of tournaments later in Ormond. It looks like he was the only person that attended that event, and he qualified. He was our first qualifier for the Super Series.
Yep.
So huge congrats to Ian. That's what we're playing these things for, to win them and to qualify for these big fun tournaments. So huge shout out to him and for getting that. And it looks like a few more one-pointers, people attending all these events. It's great to get people out there amongst the community attending. And Dogan's done well in Burwood.
And definitely,
I wonder if that was limited.
Yeah, I'm not too sure, but definitely getting. I love awarding a point to participation. It encourages the boys to get out and play.
Yep. People in the team want to win this award.
Yeah.
It's a talked about thing throughout the year. It's like, I don't know if I'll go this week, and then guys will always say, well, don't forget your Player of the Year points, so just for showing up. So it is actually a good sort of incentive to get out there, and the guys do use it, and it's a good talking point amongst the team as well. So
it's funny, it was almost, I won't say an afterthought for the first couple of years, but certainly this year we've found the discussion in our own various chat groups in the faction, guys going, well, am I getting points for this event? So
yeah,
it's interesting to see it's becoming more competitive as we've gotten more people in, and that just makes for, who knows, sometime in the future we might move this kind of thing onto a real life venue, have almost like a Brownlow medal night type thing with it. I
am keen to do that at some point.
That would be amazing.
Okay, so that was August. So we'll have a look at the leaderboard. And here we go. Ian's jumped in front after his top 8 and his win. So he's moved up to 26 points. Dogan's chugging along. He's moved up a few more points. Trent's got a couple of points there. So everyone's sort of moving up. So yeah, Ian is now the leader. Alex and I falling a bit behind as we struggle to make it out to these events, as Hoodie said before, with kids and life in general. But yeah, so exciting times, and the race is on.
Definitely.
So we move on to September 2022. A few less in September. What was that? We went Maze, Pog. So Pog had opened at this point, and it started running RCQs. And that was a big one because we had 2 guys in the top 3.
Yeah, definitely. So I guess you could call it our home ground.
That in good games, I'd call out our home ground advantage, and Leo took it out. Brilliant play off. I think he was playing mono blue in a Pioneer.
He's always been really good with your standard Pioneer type constructed events, Leo. One really interesting thing to note, you might not have remembered it with the tally at kind of the halfway mark, but big points, 16 points for winning these events. It's really a wide open race if you follow along with the points leaders as we go along. So keep in mind, faction boys, as far as this year goes, you're never really that out of
never out of it. Yeah. Well, like Ian was leading on 26, and Leo's just picked up 16 from one event. So,
exactly.
So yeah, big props to him. Dogan's picked up a 5th at the Maze. That one surely was Pioneer. I couldn't imagine all those guys playing limited. So good. And as you can see, Ian and Braden just going to events. Kyle started going to events, so Kyle's got the 3rd. So it's just good to see the boys. They're the mainstays. They're really getting out amongst it. So
for sure,
great job to those guys. And we have October. So we see Braden cracking the top 4 there. So he's picking up points. So he'll be moving up quickly.
Yeah.
Ian picked up another top 8. And then we had the big Pog day. I think there was something else. I think that was the day after the Bucks party. For Pete's Bucks party.
Could very well.
I'm 99% sure
so,
that Kyle was out until all hours for Pete's Bucks.
It was,
and then went and played at the Pog RCQ all day and won it.
It's a heck of a night the night before.
Night.
So for those boys to to get up to play the next day. You're stronger than I.
All three of them are on the Bucks, Braden and Leo.
Exactly
and Kyle,
right.
So
yeah,
and props for Kyle to winning that. That was a huge event. So that's for the upcoming Super Series, which is in March. So yeah, it's awesome to have him qualified for that.
Yeah.
So we'll check again. And you can see with Kyle and Leo's win, they're right on Ian's tail.
Exactly right. I mean, 5 points the difference. That's not a lot. That is, that can turn at any moment in
That's
any
a top
event.
8.
Exactly.
Just top 8. I mean, some of these RCQs have 16 people.
Exactly right. I mean, you look down as far as even at that point to Alex, who's, within a PPTQ or whatever it's now called.
Still, same with Braden. Braden was playing a lot of events, and so did Dogan. Dogan had a few in there, so I think that was around the time he broke his leg. So hopefully that's coming along well, and he'd almost be back to full health. I hope.
Exactly. Shout out also to just the amount of players on that leaderboard. I apologise, I'm not on it. I definitely will be this year, but. We've got 24 guys on the faction, and I was just thinking about before, there's realistically only 3 people I'd probably put in the boat of semi-retired. To have, that many people participating in events throughout the community. We're a massively active community, so fantastic work, everyone. Yep,
great job, guys. And okay, so exciting times. So what have we got? Braden, a winner behind Leo, probably. Alex hasn't been to an event since the first, so he was on top before, so he might sneak out for an event. But let's move on to the last couple of months of the year.
And
so,
look how many.
There's so many events.
Exactly right. Yeah.
So that's November and December. So straight away we see a bunch of guys with attending points, but Braden pushing hard. He's got another 4 points, so that would put him on 22, I believe, and 23 with that attendance point. Ian with another top 8. He was already qualified and still playing.
Yeah.
No, sorry, that was Kyle. Ian was still trying to get that qualification. So yeah, he's top 5 there. And then the Super Series came around. So you can see on the 25th of November, we have Braden and Kyle smashing out LCQs.
Yeah.
Trying to get in. Unfortunately, they would both say they didn't. They were pretty unlucky that day. Didn't go so well, but they tried. That's the main thing.
Exactly.
Some days it's not your day, and it wasn't their day. But there's always tomorrow, right? A lot of us couldn't make it to those LCQs because we're at Pete's wedding.
Yeah.
Hats off to Pete for getting married. That was a brilliant day, and thanks so much for having many of us along. I know it's hard to invite everyone, but there was a large chunk of faction guys there, and it was a brilliant day. So thanks, Pete, for that. And Ian, well done on making the final for the Super Series.
Yeah.
He put on a pretty bloody good performance. I think he was well in chance of making the top 8 at one point, but a couple of rough losses there. I mean, that's magic. I think he ended up with like a 5-3 record.
I think it was 5-3,
which is very good. So. A couple of those wins go your way next time, and you're pushing top 8, top 12 gets the invite to the Pro Tour. So
exactly.
That's coming up in March. You're already qualified for the next one. As you can see here, towards the bottom on the 4th of December, Ian won a RCQ, so he is qualified for the next one already. Ian and Kyle are the 2 qualified guys.
Big points later on in the year as well. So.
Yeah, there's a lot of big points there. So Leo's come out again. He's played Legends and Collectibles. Looks like he's gone out there by himself. And top 8 at that. I'm not sure. Was that the one in? Where's Leo's?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
In Monash
that might have was that High Point. I'm not too sure, but it's good to see.
Plenty of stores out there, guys. Ones that we've never been to, which is saying something. So
exactly.
Gaming Verse. Is that Box Hill?
I think it might.
Or is it Ringwood?
Yeah.
They'll change their names, but I think it's Box Hill.
I think it's Box Hill.
Congrats, Ian, on winning that one. Trent for doing so well, making top 8. And then Temple Arden. Nath and Braden both making top 8 and getting themselves some more points. So it's a bloody close race this, with Braden picking up points, Ian picking up points, even Kyle picking up a heap of points in the LCQs, same with Braden. So
definitely, and worth noting a couple of things here. Firstly, awesome work, Trent, for I know how many hours he's put into the new store, making it the best store in Melbourne, but to actually be able to get out there
and still
on
play.
his day offs and play. Massive shout out to you, mate. I forgot to mention you as far as the Highlander boys as far as our team go, but you're also another guy that leads the charge in that regard. The second thing is to the most newly father, I guess you could call him in the team, in Jono. Great to see you back playing Magic. You're obviously leading the charge in Flesh and Blood, but to see you buy and get back into Modern.
He was at a lot of these Modern RCQs.
Yep, so fantastic to have him back. He's just a wonderful, wonderful personality in the team.
Yeah, just needs to work on his deck choices. But a lot of participation points. Well done, Jono. Good to have you out there and representing the team and wearing the shirt. Okay, so here we go.
The huge reveal. I don't know if anyone's been following along, but it's a really tight race.
We're gonna work our way down. It was actually a tie for second.
Fantastic.
So equal second place, Braden. A lot of top 8s at those RCQs. I had some great results and put in a lot of effort just going to events and just getting out there amongst the community. Yeah. A couple of those top 8s wins it's not that hard to win 2 more rounds or 1 more round. And you're in one of these super series and you're right up on top of these leaderboards. And even without actually taking out the win, which I'm hoping like hell he gets one this year.
Exactly.
He still comes second. So that's a fantastic effort.
He's just an amazing guy for the faction. From the minute he joined the team, and I've said it before, but he was the first guy to put up his hand and say, look, to Kyle, I'll go with you to America, follow you in the pro tour. And he's always the guy who's putting up his hand to play these events. So I don't say it often enough, Braden, but you are an amazing guy for the
faction. A huge part of the team.
Yeah.
And hats off.
For sure. Yeah. Congratulations, mate.
Cool. We'll move on to the other second place winner. So well done to Kyle. So previous Player of the Year winner, another great year, another RCQ win. So he is qualified. Still young.
What do you say about Kyle? I mean, to sum it up, there's a running joke within the faction that he's washed. Because he's that good, and even in a washed year, which is a joke, but he's coming second place. He's just that good. You know him, you probably out there know him as one of the best players in Australia in Magic, full stop.
A GP winner.
There's
winner. Not many GP winners in this country.
Legitimately just a top tier player in the country. And we joke about it, Kyle, but you know how good you are, and we know how good you are.
So yeah. I mean, it's going to be a scary force again this year and many years to come, I'm sure.
For sure.
Yeah, I mean, what I'll say is he's young. He's in his early 20s.
Early 20s, I mean. Yeah.
So yeah. Well done, mate. I'm sure it's not the place you wanted, but I know you'll fight back and go even harder this year. So congrats, mate. And we'll move on to our winner. Here we go.
Fantastic work.
Well done.
Good stuff.
Player of the Year. First time winner. 2 RCQ wins. Good results in the majors. Played his first Super Series. Well, played the first Super Series we've ever had in this country.
Yeah.
And as I said before, I think he went 5-3 and was really pushing hard for that top 8. So, an amazing year. Nothing really can stop him from continuing this year. No. He's got all the skills. He's been doing it, and he's put the time in. He's been running the podcast. He's now working full time as well. But even despite his having a full-time job, which does take up a lot of your time, he's still getting these great results and putting a lot of effort and time into the team. He plays in the faction basketball team. So he's just a huge part of the team. And massive congrats. Oh,
look, he's the youngest guy on the team. Personally, I've been saying for the last couple of years, I think look out for him as being one of the future stars in the country as far as Magic goes. He's an incredibly talented player. He's an incredible personality. I mean, could you wish for a better host of the podcast?
Mm-hmm.
Talented basketball player as well. He's got it all. He's young. So blessed to have him as part of our team and community, and absolutely deserved for a Player of the Year award. You saw the points. There was a lot of people fighting it out, and at the end of the day, you can wish for a more deserving win.
I think he won that RCQ in like the second last event of the year, which pushed him over the edge.
Yeah.
So yeah, massive congrats to Ian, and yeah, just keep going. We can't wait to see you on a plane overseas to play in one of these Pro Tours. So it's only a matter of time. Keep going, buddy.
Exactly.
We'll have a look at the final leaderboard. So as you can see, that big win at the end has pushed him out in front. And yeah, Kyle and Braden both hitting 34 points, which is a great score on its own right.
Exactly right.
Leo also not far behind.
No, and you know what? Here's me thinking Leo had quite a year. He's come fourth.
Yeah.
Insane. These events, if you haven't already picked up as we went along, these events that get scaled as far as obviously you get more points the better you do, but you also get more points depending on, I guess, the difficulty of the event. So, you obviously do well at a Pro 2, you're going to get huge points. Look, this is fantastic. A good spread of points there. No one was really out of it until the very end, and a deserving young man got it.
Yeah, well done. Well done to everyone on that list. It's great to have you as part of the team and playing Magic, slinging some cards. So, yeah, a great job from everyone.
Yeah, it's going to be an even more busy scoreboard this year, obviously, with Flesh and Blood. We've already... And
events starting from the start of the year.
Exactly right.
It's the main reason why we didn't include Flesh and Blood this year, because Magic didn't exist from a Wizards of the Coast point of view until August.
Yeah.
So now that both card games are up and running and at full strength again, we can get everyone involved, and there's going to be way more points scored this year.
There is. You got someone like an Alex there, who's obviously done pretty well there. He also played a few Flesh and Blood events, so it'd be really interesting to see what that does to the leaderboard. Does it encourage some of us to start playing Flesh and Blood for the extra points?
Does it encourage the Flesh and Blood players to play more Magic?
Exactly.
Because they already know how to, and they're already good at it.
Definitely.
It would be a scary thought if someone like Gibbo started playing a ton of Magic and Flesh and Blood.
For sure.
I'm sure the Storp is one of the owners and runners of POG, so I'm sure that keeps him very busy. But yeah, it would be scary to see some of these guys just absolutely hammering events out like that, because they're very, very good card players.
Definitely.
Okay, that's it for the Faction Player of the Year segment. Congrats to our top three and everyone on that list, so well done, guys. Now, what have we got upcoming for the faction? Now, I was speaking to Jono, our Fab liaison, essentially. There's 3 or 4 guys heading over to New Zealand for the Calling, which is their version of a GP. So, yeah, some exciting times.
Potentially huge points on offer if one of our boys does well in that event.
Yep. So, yeah, it'd be great. I mean, Gibbo's got had some huge results in the past in Fab at these events like this. So
definitely,
I can't wait to see how he goes, and I'd love to see Jono really pushing hard. And I know he's got it in him.
Oh, for sure,
it'll happen.
He's a talented card player in the same kind of regard as Gibbo in terms of having skills in both games. So it'd be interesting and just fantastic also to have an event that big. We'd love GPs back for Magic. Really,
if there was one on for Magic in New Zealand, I'm sure we'd get a contingent over there.
For sure.
It's great that the guys are doing it for Fab as well, and are that committed to making the upper echelons of that game. So good luck, guys. The Melbourne Super Series, which is essentially the Magic version of a GP we have now.
Yeah.
Ian and Kyle are already qualified, as I've said. So those guys are pushing for more 2023 Player of the Year points, as well as that elusive Pro Tour invite that can be bloody hard to get. So
definitely. It's in Melbourne too.
It's in Melbourne, Coburg Town Hall in the very start of March. I've got my time off work, so I will be attending the last chance qualifiers, trying to make it onto that and Saturday event, and I will be playing the Sunday event as well, which is Pioneer. which is a 5K tournament. I think it's $1,600 for first place in that Pioneer tournament. So big Player of the Year points on offer. And I think if you do well in that event, top 16, I think gets invited to the next Super Series. So you don't even have to play the RCQs if you do well in the Sunday event.
No, that's great.
So it's a huge weekend of magic that I hope to see heaps of the guys get around. If you need decks, talk to the guys. We've got cards.
We do.
We'll see what we can do. So faction guys that want to get involved, and even people outside the faction, come say hi to us. We will be at these events.
Yeah.
In last but not leastly, in May, we've got a huge new we've started organising it recently, but we've got the Faction Invitational 4.
I mean, how can you top Phillip Island with the go-karting and, 25 or 26 people? You book yourself a lodge in the snow.
Yeah, snow. Snow in May. Good luck, Hoodie.
Late May.
Good luck,
Hoodie. Soon
Hoodie.
see, but
yes, we're going to a ski lodge, which is just gives us the ability to host 32 people.
Incredible.
So, and we basically, the only person, we've got about 30 yeses already. The only person who said no is unfortunately Jono is in Austria. So it sucks not to have you there, Jono, but I'm sure you'll have a ball in Austria. But everyone else has pretty much said yes. It's
so tough because there is so many great people. We want to use this event to introduce to a bit of faction hospitality, culture, weekend away. Basically give our first kind of round of invites to previous attendees, and
they've all said yes.
They've all said yes within 48 hours.
So,
there was basically no questions. They're going, and we might have spot for a couple of people if we're lucky. We'll introduce a couple.
This will be our biggest tournament ever so far.
I mean, incredible. It's a weekend.
It's gonna be harder and harder to get bigger and bigger venues that can sleep us all.
It is.
Because this is a multi-day event. We leave Friday, we get back Monday.
It is.
And you got to get beds for 32 people. We've got to organise food for 32 people. There's nothing open in the mountains in May. So we've got to bring a lot of food. So it's going to be it's a logistical nightmare, but it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm sure with the preparation and the effort that the guys are putting into it, I'm sure it's going to be fantastic.
Look, such is how much people scream about running these events that Leo and Nath
they've taken the reins.
They have, and it's
taken the reins. I'm busy with a lot of stuff, and so is Hoodie. It's great to have help from other guys for these events as well. So
it is.
So huge hats off to those guys for putting their hands up, because it's a big job, which they're starting to learn.
We spend hours each day talking about.
Yeah, Hoodie and I are still involved, but we're hands off. We're just maybe giving a little bit too much advice sometimes. But yeah, that's how we're involved now. So thank you so much to you two guys. Appreciate it a lot. And I can't wait to get up there and play and.
Oh, it's seriously one of the best weekends, full stop of the year.
Oh, yeah. And I say to crown a new champion. I hope we don't crown a new champion, but I hope it's a previous winner. But anyway, it'll be great, and it'll be no matter what happens, it'll be a pleasure to play.
Definitely. So look out for that. And it's exciting times for the faction in general.
Yep. Okay. Is there anything else you wanted to say?
Oh, there's I think we've covered it pretty well, but look, we should probably say to those of you that might be watching this, it'll be on YouTube probably, that aren't necessarily a part of the community of the faction, but are just kind of various people within the community of Australia. I'd like to say a big shout out and thank you for. I mean, the Australian scene is just the most friendly, laid-back group of people as far as the people we play against at tournaments and we interact with at stores. We could have double or triple the amount of people in the faction.
Yeah, there's a lot of people always coming up to us and to have a chat and talk about the team and stuff. And we appreciate talking to you. And it's all friendly and it's competitive, and that's the way it should be. But it's all in love, and as one of the things that the Pog boys say is that, like, creating the store was for the love of the game and the love of the community, and to make that these things a bit. So they work themselves with other stores. It's not a competition. We're all here to grow this and to make it bigger and more fun for all of us. So that's what the faction does. That's what POG does, and that's what all the stores and people in Melbourne and around Australia do for the community and the game. So
exactly right. If you look after one another and you support a great friendly community, I mean, people will play, and that's. I mean, we got. There's quite a few players within the faction that probably wouldn't be playing anything if it wasn't for the community we've built. So I'm sure the same goes out there as well. So look after one another, stay friendly, be awesome like you already are.
Congratulations, Ian.
Fantastic.
Your 2022 Player of the Year.
Good stuff, Ian.
That's Dalo and Hoodie signing off.